Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and finally some new legends where I can give you guys some solid reviews, and hopefully kind of build up some consistency and get some views for the channel. I've been off my game for too long. I got the Defender Strange, the Target exclusive one today. My buddy Spawn XD, or Spawn 209 Toys, hooked me up. He picked it up for me because it hasn't hit my town yet. And I'm like, oh, cool, I got a new figure I'm going to review. It's going to be awesome. And then, lo and behold, the Thor Love and Thunder Wave has hit the Walmarts kind of in the area. Not necessarily my town, but Spawn Toys, my buddy, he got them. He picked them up at Walmart. I went to the other Walmart in that town, and they were like, no. When I walked in, funny story, when I walked in, the person pulling the pallets out and the person doing the stocking, they were talking about how, hey, you know, now we know what the villain looks like, Christian Bale. So I'm like, oh shit, they're talking about the figures. There's no way I'm gonna get him. So I walk up and say, hey, you guys have those? Because I was at another store and they said, you guys have them. And they were like, no, I haven't seen it. I'm looking for myself. And then the lady, she's all like, oh, no, you can't buy them anyway because they're street dated for the 26th. All this and that. And kept saying, well, inventory's coming up, this and that. I'm like, okay, cool. I get it. So it kind of sucked. But my buddy was able to get it at the other Walmart just fine, no problem. So here we have it. He hooked me up big time. He felt bad because I drove all the way out there and Kate would have come home empty-handed, but I got to swing by his place and pick him up. But anyway, here we go. Now, these figures are very colorful. I think they're going to be ones that some people will like, some people will not like. Do I like them? Of course I do. They're MCU figures. The whole wave is MCU figures. 7 figures, plus the Build-A-Figure, all 8 figures, all MCU. I love that. Give me more movie figures. A lot of you guys don't. I get it. A lot of you guys don't like the designs for characters in the films, like Gorr the God Butcher. Does this look like anything like his comic book counterpart? No. Color? Kinda. Not really. He's got a nose. That's kind of weird. All kinds of weird, crazy things. So that's why I really want to do this video first, so you can get a look at Gorr, because this is our first official, not even official, first look at how Gorr is going to look in the movie, because we didn't know before. There were some behind the scenes images that were there, but you know, CGI and whatnot, how he would end up looking, we didn't know. We still don't have a trailer. There's no pre-order for these figures, so it's all just unexpected, in the dark. We don't know. By the time you guys watch this video, maybe a trailer will come out, because we're assuming Monday will be the day, and I'm filming this technically Monday at 12:40 a.m. Maybe we will have the trailer in the morning. We shall see. But anyway, Thor Love and Thunder movie logo there. The packaging is all very colorful. Side artwork of Christian Bale as Gorr there, and that actually looks really cool. The figure doesn't necessarily represent what we see here. He's got all kinds of scarring on his arms as well as his face. It's on there somewhat, but just doesn't look as cool, and it's hard, you know, to put it into toy form, how they could do that. Up at the top, we got a fractured Mjolnir there. I don't know if that has something to do with the movie, so I guess beware of potential spoilers for some of this stuff. Build-A-Figure is Korg. Looking at the back of the package, we get that same artwork for Christian Bale. Gorr there. His bio reads, Gorr, wielding a strange and terrifying weapon, Gorr will let nothing stand in his way. The weapon is the Necro Sword, which I thought that's what they kind of gave Hela in Thor Ragnarok. So I don't know if that's actually going to be, or kind of what the plan's going to be for the movie. We shall see. But anyway, here is the Korg Build-A-Figure and all the figures in the wave. We have Thor, Mighty Thor, Jane Foster Thor, Gorr, King Valkyrie. We have Ravager Thor, Star-Lord, and Groot. So here are kind of the Asgardians of the Galaxy type of deal there. So there we go. Let's get Christian Bale out of the box. Okay, so here is Gorr, the God Butcher figure, out of the package, and this is one people are going to 100% hate. And I know they're going to hate it, because they're going to hate the design of Christian Bale's Gorr, the God Butcher. They're going to hate the figure. Everything about it is going to be bad. I can tell you that right now. It's cool. I'm still happy with it, because MCU figure, gimme, gimme, gimme. But in terms of what it can do, it's going to be super limited, which kind of sucks. But there's some really cool things going for it, like one thing that's not going for it is its ability to stand, so that's going to be tough. But anyway, looking at the accessories, here we have the right foot for Korg, and it is looking pretty good. I think the biggest problem that this Korg figure is going to have is I think that he has the same head sculpt as the previous Korg figure, and there's no wash over the stone, so it just looks like a bright, dull gray, which kind of sucks. But The pants look pretty cool. Some nice colors in there. But Gorr, he comes with the a sword. Is this the Necro Sword? I think so. It's kind of interesting looking. I want to see how they kind of play that off in the movie or what that's going to go about. But looking at the blade, you can see it's all black. But there's all kinds of sculpted texture into the blade itself, which looks really, really cool. I really like the way that looks. Looking at the hilt, just brown paint in there. Nothing special. I may have scraped some off there while putting it in his hand. But there, sword looks really, really good. Really, really good. So that's it for the accessories. Here we have Gorr. So let's kind of reset here. Okay, so we'll take a closer look at it. This looks just like Christian Bale. I think the likeness to Christian Bale is ridiculously good. But how the look and design for Gorr leaves a lot left to be desired, because it just doesn't look really good. But again, some cool things going for it, like the scarring that's all like sculpted in there along his face, up around his head, into the back of his head, onto his neck and everything. It's sculpted on there, and we get some kind of paint that's applied to there, some darker paint over the skin tone to kind of make it look pretty good. We get some purple paint in there. I don't know if that's supposed to be veins or exactly what the design that's supposed to be. You could see it on the side of his head, and it goes into his neck as well. We have this cape piece. I'm going to kind of remove that so you could see the painted details there on the neck. And the other side as well. Same on the side of the head. Eyes look pretty good. A little wash silver lips. But yeah, it looks really like Christian Bale, but for Gorr, it just doesn't... I don't think it looks all that great. Like, he's wearing clothes. I think, you know, in the comics, Gorr had somewhat of like robe type of deal, more cape type of deal. It wasn't necessarily like clothing like this. But maybe this is an origin for Gorr, and you know, there's more to come. Who really knows? But looking at the arms, we do get pinless elbows, and we see a lot of the scarring there along the arm as well. Nothing on the inside whatsoever, but it's just along the sides. A little bit on the hand there as well. That's pretty good. Looking at the other side, we see that here as well. Now, the design of Gorr in the comics, he has a little bit of black going throughout some portions of his body. They didn't do that for the design of the character, but they do get some black in there, more than just what would be like his fingernails. So we get a little bit of black in there. And that looks pretty good. There, the hands are super soft, rubbery. Super soft, which is kind of crazy. Usually the hands would be a little bit more hard plastic, but, you know, I guess when you have individual fingers out like that, sometimes it gets a little soft. It could just be mine, sometimes QC. That happens with one-offs, but, you know, who knows if it's going to be all the way across. But looking at his clothing, it is all kind of, we have a waist ball there, so no ab crunch or diaphragm cut or anything like that. The paint on here is actually pretty good. At first, I didn't notice this at first, but if you look, we get a couple of different colors in here. More of a whitish color. And then we have here the sash portion, and you actually see a little bit of a dry brush or wash actually on there. I'm not really sure if it's going to be a dry brush or a wash in there, but you can see brings out some of the details in there, and it helps bring a different color to the rest of the robe piece. The sculpt of it along the bottom, you can see it's kind of thrashed and stuff, and a little tear right there. That looks pretty good. But if you look at the paint that's applied on there, some shading in there, looks really good. So it kind of gets dirty down towards the bottom where, you know, it could drag along the dirt or wherever he's walking. So that looks pretty good. And you got the little Gorr feet there. But here's the crazy part. So we have this nice slit in the side so you can really move the legs around a little bit. Look at this dude's wearing like jogger pants in here. Pinless knees. So that's cool. So it's kind of a weird look. But it's going to still really hinder the articulation. So, I mean, you can get the legs to go off to the side a little bit. But man, it's really going to be hard to get him like even trying to move the legs forward. That's going to be kind of tough. To get him to stand, so we'll kind of see there. Looking at the cape piece that I just kind of, you know, lifted up and over, we get the same paint that's applied here down towards the bottom. You can see it's all tattered and shredded there, which is pretty cool. We have these portions here, which would kind of be like the scarf, and that's what you would see like in his comic look, some of that. At first I was kind of thinking, oh, it could be those portions. I think, you know, Gorr in the comics, he has like the two, I don't know what you would call them. I know, you know, the Star Wars characters, how they have the two things that come out of their head. They're not horns or hair or whatever. But I was kind of thinking maybe that's what that is, but I think it's just more of a scarf overlay type of deal. But yeah, there he is. Now let's see how he moves, and it's not going to be very good. It's really difficult to get him to stand. But anyway, the head is on a dumbbell joint, so you can get all kinds of crazy motion in there. He can look up that much there. He can look down that much. So it's actually better than most with the dumbbell joint, but all kinds of crazy pivot going on in there. Let's remove this cape. You can actually take it off without having to pop his head off. But that way I could show you guys the you know, how much range you get in the shoulders and the arms. So you can get the shoulder to go out slightly elevated, full rotation, of course, upper bicep swivel in there. You get a double jointed elbow, and again, these are pinless joints at the elbow, so pinless, as you can see. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge. The right hand does have the sword wielding hand, so the vertical hinge is opposed to the horizontal hinge. We have the waist ball, so we get swivel at that waist ball, and you can get some pivot to the side, as you can see there. Going back is only a little bit, coming forward is only a little bit, so that's, you know, we're going to be kind of limited there. Now here's the tricky part in terms of this portion. So the legs, you have an upper thigh cut in the legs, as you can see. And then double jointed knee, and these are going to be some ugly, ugly knees, but they are double jointed and pinless. You get that much bend there, but that's, you know, really big looking knee there. Ankle swivel right under the pant leg there. Foot hinges down a little bit. You get some hinge up. Ankle pivot, pegals at the bottom of the feet. But be careful, these are a little rubbery at the ankle. Not so much the foot, but the ankle is a little bit rubbery, so that also, you know, messes with the stability of the figure and trying to get him into certain poses and getting him to stand certain ways, and then you really have to balance that ball, that waist ball. You know, leaning forward is definitely a little bit easier, but you start to stand him up straight. And of course he's going to stand no problem as I do it on camera. But I was having issues earlier. So limited, because again, you know, if you want to, like, say you want to get this leg forward and you want to get one leg back, you can use the slits to your advantage a little bit. But, you know, I think that's going to kind of look a little funky. And then the balancing it, you know, is going to kind of come into play. Oh, and then on top of that, that's with the cape off. Actually, you know what? I guess that's not too bad. Throw the sword in his hand. Yeah, maybe that's not so bad. But oh, here we go. Now I'm having problems getting him to stand. Let's that ankle a little bit. That arm out to counterbalance. Yeah, see, it's very heavy. The thick rubber material adds a lot of weight, and it just gets kind of heavy. Actually, you know what? That's pretty good. I'm gonna take a picture of that. But there is his articulation. Okay, so that is the first review of the Korg Build-A-Figure Wave for Thor, Love and Thunder. This is Gorr, the God Butcher. Hopefully a trailer soon. You know, maybe by the time you watch this video, there's going to be a trailer. Not really sure. I'm excited for the movie because it's coming, I think, in July, and we don't have a trailer. We don't know anything really about the movie other than Jane Foster wields Mjolnir somehow. Where does Mjolnir come from? We don't really know. How will Christian Bale's Gorr, the God Butcher character, be in live action? We have no idea, but here it is in action figure form, and yes, it does disappoint a bit. I'm happy to simply just have the character, but I would wish for a better figure, something that can move around a little bit, and isn't so heavy from, you know, the rubber robe pieces and stuff. But, you know, he can actually kind of move around decently. I guess, you know, it would just take a lot of practice on how to really position figures for what you're trying to do. And because I'm not the best at that, you know, working it around a little bit, you know, giving it some time, maybe there's something that you could do. But I think this one actually looks pretty good, and I'm happy with it. But again, the character design is kind of the flaw, not completely on the figure. Yes, the figure has some flaws, and isn't the greatest in terms of articulation, but yeah, I'm happy with it. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of this figure. What do you think of the design? Are you excited for this wave? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.